and welcome to Mission Karnataka, the show in which we look at issues of interest in the run-up to Karnataka elections 2018. Well, the political parties have started coming out with their lists of candidates. There have been protests, there have been celebrations, but if you look at those lists, you'll find something which is largely missing: the names of women. Joining us from the Congress, we have Soumya Reddy. She's the candidate from Jayanagar in South Bengaluru and also a Congress spokesperson. And Smriti Haritz, a BJP spokesperson and a member of the Manifesto Committee. And we will start with this very question. Where are the women? Soumya, in the list so far, 218 out of 224. Only 15 women candidates in the Congress list. What's happening?
So first of all, I feel extremely lucky, that I got a ticket. I have to actually thank our party president, Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and of course everybody, including Siddaramaiah sir, Mr. Parmeshwar. The thing is, at the end of the day, I'm really glad that we got 15, and a lot of, as you already know, we are fighting for reservation, 33%, and including Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, all of us have signed. But at the end of the day, in the past 4 years, what is BJP doing? The ball is in their court. And we really, as a person who's been actively working on the ground, we need more women as well, more people who are independently working, because we want representatives.
Smriti, she's passing the buck to the BJP. How many women in the BJP list so far?
It's quite disappointing. There have been only 3 women so far of the
only
two
3,
lists.
okay.
And we have another list pending, but I don't think that the representation of women is going to be higher this time. But see, I do not see this as a gender problem or a this party versus that party problem. It is a systemic problem. And when Ms. Soumya Reddy says that she's put the ball very comfortably into our court, but I would like to say that this bill was first passed by Mr. H.D. Deve Gowda, and post that 10 years it was in their court. They could have done something about it, but none of the parties have done anything about this.
None of them are serious.
Now, it's not a question of seriousness. BJP has already, passed the reservation bill amongst the local bodies.
It was already passed, in Lok Sabha. It was passed on to Rajya Sabha. You know what's been happening. And in the past 4 years, nothing has happened. And we have signed petitions, we have had campaigns, we have had everyone in the Congress, and not just Congress, pretty much every other party has said we need to move this. But I don't think they really are interested. They don't have the political will to actually...
But your own party could have done it, right? More than 15 tickets. Like the Chief Minister did say, it's better than last time, but better than last time is not good enough. 15 is not even 10%.
I agree. 15 is still not good enough. I completely agree with you. But also this election, as you already know, is a lot of factors are also taken into account, which includes the biggest priority is winnability.
In this situation, should there then be seats which are reserved for women? We have seats reserved for certain castes.
I have my own reservation against reservation.
Reservation against
That's
reservation.
Because, you see the BBMP polls, you see the Gram Panchayat polls, the women are just figureheads for their husbands.
Yes.
Or sometimes the daughters are the figureheads for their father. So, I don't see any new women making their entry into politics with the reservation. So, I don't know. I think we need to take time and really, look at the entire system as a whole and see if reservation is the only way to go about it.
I think reservation should be there.
It should be
there.
But
at the same time, we need to, parties, people need to start introspecting. Things need to be more holistic. People, because at the end of the day, why do women don't come into politics? We need to look at that larger question in general.
On the other hand, though, many times women in politics are considered to be, there's someone's wife, there's someone's sister, there's someone's daughter. And Soumya, you will have had those questions already. You are the daughter of Karnataka's Home Minister Ramalinga Reddy.
Yes.
And there are questions that's why you got the ticket.
Maya, I would like to, in fact, ask you something. You've seen me for the past 15 years. In fact, you've seen me as an activist. And it's not like I was sitting at home and I just asked for the ticket. At the end of the day, I have been working, right from a young age, almost for the past 20 years. I started off with animal rights, wildlife, environmental rights, women's rights, LGBT rights. And I've been working at the grassroots level, in fact, including employment, civic issues. And a couple of years ago, I mean, I was also outside the system. I was one of those rebel activists protesting. In fact, I protested against my own government, coincidentally against my own father's program about 10 years ago.
Really? Which one was this?
This was a poultry conference.
As an animal activist, you did not want, okay.
Yes,
So Samia
absolutely.
is saying that she is here because of the work she's done, not because she's somebody's relative. The BJP often accuses the Congress of being a party of family, dynasty.
See, what I would like to say here is that the entry barriers for people who come from political families is far lower than for a new person to enter into the system.
The BJP, of course, does it itself. I mean, you have Raghavendra, Yediyurappa's son. You have a series of...
I think it's far lower than, like I said, it's not like they've not done work to be in the system. It's just they know how to maneuver the system. But we've had a lot of fresh faces. In fact, women. Nirmala Sitaram comes from a non-political family. Sushma Swaraj comes from a non-political family background. We have several leaders who've climbed up through the ranks without having any fathers or godfathers in politics.
Yeah, that was something I was discussing also. When women do make it in politics, when they do get a portfolio, when they do become ministers, the BJP has, of course, given defense, given external affairs, unusually, to women, which are considered the big portfolios. Otherwise, women tend to get very important portfolios like women and child, but it's not considered really the big ones. The portfolio, how many ministers were there in the Congress government this time around?
We've had 2 women. That's Mrs. Geeta Madhav Prasad and also Mrs. Umashri. And I think I completely agree with you. I think out of 222 MLAs, this is across parties.
Yes.
We have just guessed how many women MLAs? 8.
8.
I think
8 in the entire, I mean,
8
it's
or 9,
just,
yeah.
it's tragic.
It would be unfair to say all is bad for us. I look at it in a very positive light. Today if I'm here sitting in this debate, it's also because I'm a woman. And like a lot of people say that there are no opportunities. For women who aspire, there have always been opportunities.
Okay.
So I think there's that aspiration that we need to build in our women.
You've entered politics at this very young age. Do you see yourself as a woman politician with a responsibility to speak for women's issues, or do you see yourself as a politician?
I see myself as a person responsible on speaking on all kinds of issues, not just women's issues. Of course, I'm a woman, I will speak on women issues, but any issue in the country, that should not limit me from speaking about it.
Yes. It should not ghettoize you. Samia, what about you? Do you see yourself as a woman politician or as a politician?
I see myself as a politician.
Do you think that as women, your response to certain issues would be different? For example, the terrible, terrible attacks on children which have caught the headlines, probably happening much more widely than is being reported also. But do you think you would have responded differently to the issues of safety of women, assaults on women? Do you think that you would come from a different place?
Of course, like any policy would require a balanced approach, right? You bring in all the stakeholders before you draft any policy. Similarly, I think, you have a bunch of men sitting and drafting policies for safety of women. It is going to come out in a biased tone.
What do you feel, Samia? Do you think that your response would have been different if you'd been in a position of power when it came to these? Would you have responded? Because there has been a feeling that perhaps a response from male politicians was not as it should be.
I think people across the country, all of us have been shocked what happened in Kathua and what happened in Unnao. And for example, just a few years ago in 2012, when Nirbhaya happened, people were out protesting in the streets, the entire country, in Jantar Mantar to Town Hall to Freedom Park, everywhere. Why isn't this happening right now? The Prime Minister keeps quiet about an incident like this, and the sitting
The Prime Minister has not kept quiet about it.
He kept quiet for 3 days.
He took a while.
He kept quiet, Smriti. 3 days he kept quiet.
Let me go one step further ahead and also talk about the recent other rape cases which have not got as much media attention as it should have. A 3-year-old girl has been gang raped on a bus in Kolkata. A 4-year-old has been murdered because a man could not rape her in Muzaffarnagar. A 16-year-old girl has been raped, abducted and raped in Meerut. And all this has happened over the past 60 days. And where is the outrage? I condemn this selective outrage. Any rape must be condemned. It is a heinous offense. And yes, they must be punished. And irrespective of the party lines,
Smriti, this is exactly what I'm trying to say. Why did a sitting chief minister, defend when a 17-year-old woman said that she was raped by a BJP MLA, not an ordinary person, an MLA, And also,
he has been arrested.
The response
Justice
was
took its-
very slow. It took its own time. It did take
But
its own
justice
time.
was served.
if you really want to talk about what happened over there, what happened to the father? And the father was beaten and then he was killed when he went to try to file a case. And that woman, the 17-year-old woman who is an orphan right now under protective custody, is not even being given water.
Would a woman chief minister, woman prime minister have reacted differently?
I don't think it's got to do with gender, Maya. I'm sorry to say that. A woman or a man, anybody
Should have that.
exactly. I mean, how can anyone do this? And also, how can anyone defend what happened? Lawyers, and in fact, the Ekta Manch, they went
Protesting
and
against
protested because they were trying to protect these accused. How can we keep
What they
quiet?
were trying to do was bring in a CBI inquiry. What I'm trying to call out over here is the selective outrage. Over here, all the cases that I mentioned, one second, just give me my time. All the cases that I mentioned, what I failed to mention was that the victims were Hindu and the perpetrators Muslim.
See,
over here,
Smriti,
I'm not trying to bring
when
out...
Nirbhaya happened, we did not know which caste or religion she belonged to. We didn't know her name either. The entire country was out in the streets.
I'm trying to call out over here is the selective outrage. Where were all these people when all these rape cases happened?
So
where was your outrage at that point in time? Where was your daughter, your sister at that point in time?
We have been outraged at every point of time as well. And even where is the outrage right now? By the Prime Minister, by the sitting Chief Minister, is what I'm asking.
Certainly a lot of anguish over what has been happening in the country. I could see a lot of response from the students to some of these comments. And after a short break, we'll be getting back to hear your comments and your questions to these politicians. Time for a short break on Mission Karnataka. We'll be back after a short while.